The Guerrilla House Podcast.
Well, hello, you beautiful people. It's me, Jerry Howard, the host of the Guerrilla House Podcast from Guerrilla House Productions. Thank you for joining me for episode 3. We have a very special show for you today. I'll explain more later. First, I want to talk about what I've been up to. If you remember from last episode, I discussed I was coming in hot because I'm a teacher. It's the end of the school year, and boy, were we coming in hot. I mean, the plane was shaking, the wings were falling off, the plane caught fire, but we had a smooth landing. It was crazy. We had some generator problems at my school, and it was, we were on shaky ground there, but we managed to go through it all without too many problems, and it's over. So, yeah, I'm on summer break. I'm feeling good. Yesterday was my first day on summer break, but my body has not agreed on summer break yet. I'm waking up at 6 a.m. What the hell am I doing? I have no problem staying up till midnight. 1 o'clock, but 6 a.m., bing, my cat's waking me up, wants me to feed him. Just crazy. And so trying to get my body trained into summer shape so I could sleep in and relax a little bit more. I have been thinking a lot about work. The school year is over. I'm reflecting on what went well, what didn't go well. This year was year 20 for me, so reflecting on getting older, the time that has passed, knowing that really I'm on the last leg of my journey in my teaching career. It's kind of a trip to think about, but I'm excited still about the job. I still have a lot of energy. I feel positive. I had one of the best classes I've ever had this past year, but I also had easily the worst class I've ever had in my 20 years. Not that they were bad kids or disrespectful in some ways, just it's a morning class. They come in late all the time. I'm strict about that. Just a bummer. But so I'm reflecting, how can I improve that? How can I make them want to be there so early to be awesome, have some fun? So school has pretty much been on my mind for the past 24 hours, and I think I can make some improvement. I feel pretty confident. I feel lucky, too, being an educator. You got to try new things. You got to take risks. Once you think you know everything, everything changes. The kids change. The times change. It's very much like filmmaking. You think you know everything, and then the technology changes. Things change, so you have to adapt. You have to teach yourself how to learn. Go with the flow. So the great thing about being an educator, one of the great things, is the year's over now. So I can reflect positively and honestly and make some serious adjustments, make some changes, pinpoint where those changes need to be made, be honest with myself about what I'm doing well and what I'm doing poorly. What can I improve on? And knowing that varies from class to class. You could do the exact same thing, then hit a home run in one class. The next class, it's goddamn like you threw dynamite into the center of the room. But I get to start over. That's a beautiful thing. Wipe the slate clean and give it another go. So there we are. Year 20 in the books. And we don't need to talk about that shit anymore. We want to talk about stuff like movies, the beer I'm drinking, the music we're listening to. Time to move on and relax and have good times, people. I'm stoked. Update on Bloodbath and Palookaville. Mark and I have been putting in some work. Mark's been busting his ass. Mark Bauschke is our editor and director of photography. He's been killing it, like I said last week. His edit looks great. We went over there and edited. I was over at his house for about 3 hours last week, and we are going to finish chapter 2 probably before I leave. If not completely finished, pretty damn close. And we will start shooting chapter 3 when we get back. So we're 2/3 done, 1/3 to go. We'll be having another event soon, so stay tuned. And today, everybody, it's a really special day for the podcast because I'm having my first guest who's a personal close friend of mine, a member of Guerrilla House. He's made, if you came to our Bloodbath in Palookaville screening and saw The Killer of Seals, you saw his artwork of the seal. And you have seen our logo that's from Victor Maritsas. Welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, brother. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to do this. This is going to be awesome.
It's good to see you, man, my man.
Yeah. Good to see you.
First thing I want to ask you about is tell us a little bit about your brews and tunes and introduce yourself to the world here.
Yeah, sure. So, God, it's been almost 12 years ago, I think, maybe 13. I started a blog called Brews and Tunes, where I pair craft beer with mostly heavy metal and hard rock but other stuff too, punk and whatever I feel like. But it's mostly metal. But I pair albums with craft beers. It's totally ridiculous premise, but it's fun. So like I said, I've been doing it for years. And then I also do interviews with musicians, mostly musicians, but people in the music world and also brewers sometimes. It's been a while since I've done a brewer, but mostly musicians. And it's on, I'm on Blogspot, I'm on YouTube under Brews and Tunes, and Facebook and Instagram, and all the usual suspects, social media suspects. So yeah, it's fun. It's a goofy pastime, and it's my excuse to drink a lot. But I'm, I can be a lush and like pretend that it's art.
I love it. It's been awesome. You're very prolific. The way you create consistently, that always, that's just you're a hard worker. That's just all there is to it, man. You bust it out. You do a good job. One thing this is why Victor's on here. I forgot to mention, when I got the idea for a podcast, Victor and I talk a lot via chat. We're constant we always talk. We just get along that way. And I wanted him on this podcast so we could do a continuing show of metal in movies. So that's what we're going to explore. But before we get there, I wanted to ask you your interviews, man. There's been people who I've recognized, and you go fucking deep, man. Some of these bands I've never even heard of, and when I look into them, though, I could see that they've had like a very good career and very successful career in the underground metal circuit. What is the interview that stands out the most that you've conducted?
Ooh, that's tricky. There's a bunch. Because I've been able to interview some of my heroes, my musical heroes. So those are always cool. But then there's some of them that it's the people I didn't really know and didn't know a lot about. I always try to do interviews with, music that I'm into. I don't, I'm not looking to get clicks necessarily. I'm not looking to build a giant audience, and nothing against podcasters and YouTube channels that, will kind of interview anybody and, and they work with a lot of promoters and I've worked with promoters in the past and I've interviewed people I don't know very well, but I always ask for the music, I always ask, like, send me some of their music. I want to hear it. And then I'll tell you if I'm because I don't want to interview somebody that I'm not into. Like, I'm not going to interview Katy Perry or, that bullshit or fucking Ted Nugent. But I've met some really cool people because of it, and I've become friends with people because of it. And so one that stands out, sorry, that was a long roundabout way to get to this. But one person that really stood out, I think, was Al Barnes, who was in Venom way back in the late 80s, early 90s. He had a very short musical career because he decided to go back to university and get his degree. And he doesn't really perform professionally anymore, but he was on 2 albums. He was on Primeval and Temples of Ice. And he's just the coolest, funniest guy. He's so down to earth and just a badass. And we've become friends because of it. We chat all, online, and he posts hysterical videos, and he's just he's very English and very funny. So that was one that really stood out. But I think, getting to interview Mantis from Venom was another big one for me. Another one that really stands out was Lucas Fox, the original drummer of Motorhead. and that's like a 3 hour interview, and I barely say a word. Like that guy just talks. So
Nice.
it was cool. He was fascinating. He's a fascinating person, just and he's a character. He's just an amazing dude. And yeah, I think it was at night, and he's in Paris, so it was like I don't know, like 2 o'clock in the morning his time, and he's drinking wine and just talking and talking and talking. And so I just sat back with a beer and listened. It was great. So yeah, I've had some pretty cool. Yeah, and I've made some really good friends over the, yeah, like Incantation, the band Incantation, death metal band, one of my favorite bands ever, and I've become friends with those guys. I've had dinner with Chuck and hung out with John and Luke, and yeah, it's cool to, I'm not trying to do a name dropping thing here. It's just
Oh,
I've actually become like friends with them, like, and it's and Matt Magaki of Cryptopsy, and yeah, it's just cool. I think it's for me, it's really been a journey of growth in a lot of ways for me. Like not just because I get to meet my heroes and like, oh, cool, I got to interview but just getting to meet people from all over the world and learning about their cultures. And yeah, it's been awesome. It's been really cool.
fucking hey, man. That's an impressive list. And when you bring up the Motorhead dude, because it always used to remind me of Lemmy, the line Snaggletooth.
Mm.
Speed don't kill, and I'm the proof. Sometimes those guys, they were boasting because that was truth, I guess,
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
just keep going. But just you and I have been friends for a long time. You want to talk about our
Yeah.
friendship? We want to like
Yeah, yeah. So, we went to high school together. Of course, we didn't really know each other then.
no.
Like I knew who you were, and you hung out with. We had mutual friends, but I didn't really get to know you. It was a party, and it was after like it was like my first week of college, I think, and I'd gone to a Robert Plant and Joan Jett show, and then with our buddy Wes,
Uh-huh.
and then he's like, "Hey, there's a party after the show. Do you want to go to this party?" I'm like, "Sure." So we go to the party, and you were there, and you and I just bullshitted about music, and I think yeah, we kind of just clicked.
Yeah.
But then you moved to LA soon after, and we lost contact for years until Facebook.
Yeah.
Or yeah, and then we reconnected and started hanging out and chatting, and yeah, it's been yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, me too. It's a friendship that means a lot to me because I knew you in high school. We had a couple classes together. I remember we would always, we were friendly, but we never
Yeah,
really
yeah,
hung out. Wes is definitely a person that I think put us because Wes was I was becoming really good friends with Wes before I took off and whatnot. And
yeah,
but I remember meeting you. And then when I started doing, you started doing your blog, but I was doing that blog with Nick, Seattle Rock guy, and
yeah.
our blog started to. I mean, it was a small world at that time, and I remember we reconnected, and it's been one of the best things. Now I'm in contact with you all the time. You've been up here a few times, and
Yeah,
go
yeah.
down and visit you. Well, I try to. I don't go down to Utah as much. If just so context to everybody, we grew up in Ogden, but then we lived in Salt Lake. We both moved to Salt Lake when we graduated from high school. Ogden's just north of Salt Lake. It's 30 miles north, something like that. I can't remember. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's around 40, 30, yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's pretty close. It's like, but at any rate, that's where we met and good time. And here we are still hanging out, having good
Yeah.
times. And because you talk about beer all the time, I want to know what you're drinking right now. What's standing out?
So tonight I'm drinking. I don't usually drink a lot of sour beers, but I'm doing a Berliner Weiss from Drecker Brewing, and it's the Techno Viking Berliner Weiss. And what's always attracted me to Drecker, they make some really good beers, but also just I love their labels because they're all like ghouls and zombies and the undead and very metal looking and with crazy names and yeah, so I grabbed one of those. Another one that's also metal-esque. There's a local brewery here in Utah and Salt Lake called Bewilder Brewing, and they recently did a stout, a rye stout called Lord of the Ryes, and it's got a big skull on it. And then their mascot is a jackalope, so they have jackalopes flying out of its eyeballs where its eyes would be. So it kind of looks like snakes. And then it's got a bird in its mouth. And it's just, yeah, it's super metal. It's a black can and yeah, very simple colors. And it's, and I've been digging that beer, but it's a beast. It's a big high percentage beer. So I'm not drinking one of those tonight because that might be dangerous. So I've been digging those and a lot of cool local breweries here. So,
they've been popping up.
Yeah.
Here I got the metal brewery is Holy Mountain.
Oh yeah.
They constantly did we go there when you visited? I think we did.
Yeah, yeah, I love that place. Yeah, I love they did the I don't even remember what it was. It was a I'm trying to remember. I had the bottle. I don't know what I did with the bottle, but I bought it was definitely metal themed and it was the name was an album and now I forget who it was. I can't remember if it was like High on Fire maybe or it was maybe something more doomy. I can't remember, but it was yeah, great brewery.
Yeah. Their beers like they're constantly changing. I got a black beer I've been drinking. It's a low alcohol, but really nice. And also I've been really liking this West Seattle brewery called Good Society. Made one Alki. Welcome to Alki Beaches, and I'm like, that's great. And it's a IPA, but it drinks. Man, it's really light, but it's still like 7%.
Oh, geez.
So you can put back a few of those in no time, and then whoa, what happened to me?
Yeah.
But that's what I've been drinking a lot of lately, down at the pub and whatnot. What's in your heavy rotation for metal albums right now?
Ooh, so right now, so I tend to do. My brother makes fun of me for this. I go through these trends, like my own little trends. I mean, I'm always listening to music. I listen to music all the time. I love music. I listen to it at work. I listen to it in my car. I listen to it at home all the time. But I've been listening to just old school stuff lately. Two things specifically. Tom G. Warrior, so Celtic, his bands, so Celtic Frost. I've been listening to a lot of old Celtic Frost stuff, and then his Triptychon project as well, and then Triumph of Death, which is that live album he did that's playing his original band Hellhammer stuff, kind of reimagined, and that's been incredible to listen to. I can't get enough of that stuff. I'm a massive Celtic Frost fan. And then King Diamond and Merciful Fate, just that theatrical, bombastic. I've been listening to a lot of that. And I'm super excited for Cryptopsy has a brand new album coming out. It drops tomorrow. I ordered it on vinyl. The vinyl doesn't come out for a couple weeks, I don't think. But the download, I'll get the download tomorrow. And I love Cryptopsy, just technical death metal from Canada. Those guys are brutal. And the nicest dudes in the world that you'd ever meet. Yeah, so that's my gig. That's what I've been jamming on lately.
That's interesting because I always tell the story up here. Death metal is a really interesting genre for me because when I'm there live, there's nothing better. I love it. I'm like, this is amazing that dudes get into a practice space and come up with this shit.
Right.
Very creative. The shows are the friendliest motherfuckers I've ever been around. They crash into you. Oh, sorry, man. Oh, you all right? Well, just really, I've been having a good time exploring those. I still haven't gotten into the habit of putting them on and listening to them at my house. I've tried. I like it, but it's just different. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's intense, so it's hard to just sit back and listen to death metal. I mean, I listen to a lot of death metal. I'm a massive death metal guy, but I listen to everything. As you know, I listen to glam rock. So, I listen to everything. But yeah, I love the intensity of it. And there's something about, and maybe it's just being at work when you're like, fuck this place. And you've got the earbuds in and you're just jamming, some of those blast beats are just insane. Just the talent, the intensity of that music is, for me, it's in it. Well, I don't want to get it's part of why I love this movie that we're going to talk about so much too.
Yeah. Well, it's true at the live at the live show you can feel it. Just it's like you
Oh
get
yeah.
smashed with it, and it feels pretty good. To be honest with you, it's just a trip. And
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, some of those bands, seeing them live. Yeah, because my wife, Tina, who you know really well,
Mhm.
she's not a massive death metal fan, but she does like the live experience of it. She's kind of, yeah, she's like she doesn't listen to death metal, but she'll go to shows with me because she loves it's like occasionally she'll go to shows with me, but she does like the experience because it's just so intense. And I think she likes that juxtaposition of how intense the music is and how violent it can be, especially lyrically. And then when you talk to the musicians, they're really soft spoken, quiet. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them are just the nicest people you've ever met. It's pretty cool.
That's interesting, man. But let's okay. Now on that note, let's move on to what we're doing here, looking at
Yeah.
metal and movies. And we're gonna go on. This is gonna continue, but we were Victor and I were talking about it. We were talking what movies should we do? We were listing movies and we're like, screw that. Let's just talk about one at a time. One at
Yeah.
a time. So today we are gonna focus on the 2015 release Deathgasm. I'm going to read the back of my Blu-ray I have of Deathgasm right now.
Right on.
High school. Let me start again. I'm screwing up. High school is hell. Metal thrashing Brody is an outcast in a sea of jocks and cheerleaders until he meets a kindred spirit and fellow metalhead, Zach. After starting their own band, Brody and Zach's resentment of the suburban wastelands leads them to a mysterious piece of sheet music said to grant ultimate power to whoever plays it. But the music also summons an ancient evil entity known as, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, Aloth, the Blind One, who threatens to tear apart existence itself. Their classmates and family become inhabited by demonic forces, tearing out their own eyes and turning into psychotic murderers. And this is only the beginning. It's up to Brody, Zach, and their group of friends to stop a force of pure evil from devouring all of mankind. What do you think of that, man? Is that about nail it?
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty spot on, I think. I mean, it doesn't do it justice in some ways. I mean, it's hard to, just the visual impact of that film. But I think that's a pretty good summary. I think that's a pretty good summary.
If I read that at the old video stores, I'm in. Or on my streaming.
What's this?
But it's from 2015, so it's been around for a while. It was writer-director Jason Howden's first feature film. He's recently only done one feature film since then called Guns Akimbo with Daniel Radcliffe. I have not seen that film. Have you seen that?
Not either. I have not.
I see it pop up on my streaming, but I haven't pulled the trigger or even been interested in it. If I'd have known it was the guy who did Deathgasm, I might have
right.
But I had no idea. What we're looking for in our discussion is what makes metal, music, any kind of genre, when they're portrayed in narrative films, not documentaries, narrative films, they're so fucking stupid most of the time.
Yeah.
They're just the people. It's like the director or producer has never stepped into a heavy metal concert or a punk rock concert or anything in their lives. They're just going on cliche.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Stereotypes and whatnot, and those things can work, and we'll discuss in our discussion. But it doesn't get what makes this movie metal. Okay, first of all, I'll start off. What makes this movie metal, Victor? First thing is it's from New Zealand. It's international, and I had the other day. I have to share this before we get deep into it. A good friend. I won't mention any names. I love this person with all my heart. They don't like metal. And I was talking to some motherfucker about metal, and she was just listening and not really having anything to say. And then looked at me in an earnest look on the face and asked me, Jerry, who listens to metal? And I just I can't answer that because it's obvious you don't know what you're talking about. Only the whole entire world.
Yeah.
This is like a phenomenon. Like whatever your favorite music genre is, go to the record store and look at that part in the record store and then go look at metal. It's just going to be massive. But so first off, New Zealand being international, that makes it metal, man. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one thing that I think is, and I'm not trying to wax poetic here, but I think one of the things that's so cool about metal is that it's a culture. And
Hmm.
you don't see that so much with, I mean, you get a little bit of that with other musical genres, but not like you do with metal, where, I mean, I'll give you I was in Ireland recently
Hmm.
and I was at Trinity College going on a tour, and there were some kids, I'll say kids, I mean, they're in their, late teens, early 20s. They looked young. They were just hanging out by a building as we walked by. They were obviously students, but they had long hair, like me. They had, Slayer t-shirts on, Dio t-shirts on, and I walked by and I flashed them, the horns, and they all flashed the horns back at me. And like,
Yeah.
what other culture does, like, there's no other musical genre where that's a thing, where like you see a metalhead and you're like, right on, metalhead, like we're brothers. There's immediate connection, and it doesn't matter where it's from, New Zealand, Ireland, the UK, South America,
Yeah.
Asia. It's, metalheads we're very accepting. We're all, I think there's a misnomer that, and maybe this was true in the 80s, where metalheads were, and it's that stereotype, that, generalization, that we're all like uneducated morons
Right.
and racist and misogynistic, where now it's a really diverse culture. Metal is a very diverse culture. And it's global, like you said. I mean, it's a global culture, which so yeah, it's cool to see. Yeah, uh, this film from New Zealand that just speaks to us and our inner child, our adolescent metalhead child, that made in 2015. But I mean, it took me right back to high school, like immediately.
Exactly. Well, immediately, I'm thinking about growing up in Utah in the early '80s when I'm starting to dabble in music, like heavy metal music. And
Mhm.
he, the protagonist Brody, gets shipped. He has some problems at home. His mom has some troubles. It seems like they have a good relationship, but people have problems. And so while she's dealing with his problems, he has to go live with uncle and aunt. And uncle and aunt are kind of fucking dickheads, man. They're like
Yeah,
super Christian. I mean, I'm not saying all Christians are dickheads or anything, but in the metal universe, the Christians have been a little bit the enemy in some
yeah,
regards.
yeah. They're like fundamentalists. Yeah, they're
Fundamentalist. Yes, I'm not like bashing. I'm talking about metal culture here. And uncle saying, "Stop with the devil music, stop with the devil music." And that took me back, dude. And
yeah. Oh,
first thing I thought was like, does this still exist? Do people still say that shit? I don't know.
oh,
Do they still say that shit?
oh yeah, oh yeah. I see stuff like that. So I mean, I don't think it's as bad as the 80s with the whole, satanic panic that exists. I mean, it was on the news,
Right.
but
They're
and
awesome.
now you don't, but it's still like you still get raised eyebrows, and I'll walk into a place wearing a metal shirt and I'll get some looks for sure.
Like it brought me back. Like I remember people telling me about the music, adults back in the day. Like you got to be careful listening to that blah 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 blah. And
Yeah.
I would, my cousins listened to it. So they were like from the '70s. They're older than me, and they liked like Kiss, Judas Priest, right? And
Awesome.
Kiss kind of scared me, and I hadn't heard Kiss, but they gave me a couple Kiss records from the '70s. When I just look at the cover as a kid, and I would be frightened, like holy shit. And then I'd put it on the record. I'm like, they sounded nothing like I thought it
Yeah.
was going to sound. At any rate, there was a weird thing. People were trying to like steer me away from metal, but they didn't realize that it was actually piquing my interest. Like, oh, this stuff is like devil. That sounds kind of
Yeah.
interesting. What? There's all this crazy shit that could happen. Well, I would like to see some of that. Like, even though I was scared, I've always been kind of attracted to things that scare me a little bit.
Me as well. Me as
You
well.
know.
Yeah.
So this movie definitely starts talking about the old cliche, the culture that's in heavy metal, right? And before we move on, what was your gateway metal band that got you into all this madness?
Oh, that's a good. Well, I don't know if I have a specific. Well, like I kind of do. I have a few, I guess you could say. So, um, like as a kid, I was obsessed with music from a very young age. I listened. My mom listened to music all the time, and we would listen to music in the car, and I would sing along. And I'm not saying I'm different from other people, but it just seemed like a lot of my friends weren't, especially in like early elementary school. I'm talking like first, second grade,
Yeah.
when you're like 7, 8 years old. Like most of my friends weren't, they didn't care about music, but I was kind of obsessed with it. And I had this little transistor radio that was my uncle's. And I would walk around the neighborhood and listen to music all the time. Like I just thought it was so cool. Like, yeah, that KCPX. I listened to KCPX, old station here in Utah. Yeah, there were a couple DJs I remember, like Skinny Johnny Mitchell and Evan Lake the Waterman. And just listening to
Forgot about that.
just the popular music at the time. But then I think it was the onset of MTV really that, because I'd see older people, like metalheads, like wearing t-shirts and stuff. And the same thing. I was kind of scared. It was kind of freaky. I was kind of obsessed with Kiss because I remember watching the Phantom of the Amusement Park show that was on like ABC or whatever. And I remember, that was early. That was like what, 78 ish, I think. And I remember going to the mall with my mom, and there was a guy, he had a kiosk and he was selling Kiss t-shirts, and I was like 8, and I remember begging my mom to buy me a Destroyer t-shirt. She's like, I'm not buying you a Destroyer t-shirt. Like, come on. But I guess it was it was the onset of MTV, and it was there were 3, and I don't remember like the order or how, like when I saw them, like which one like hit me the hardest or the first. But it was Def Leppard, Bringing On the Heartbreak, Come On Feel the Noise by Quiet Riot, and Twisted Sister. So just seeing those videos, and now it's kind of, they're not that heavy, but then it was like that was heavy for me. Right. It's at the time I was listening to Duran Duran. So yeah, when you hear Come On Feel the Noise, it's like, whoa, like these guys are wearing crazy clothes and spinning guitar, licking their guitars, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, what is this? And I just was kind of fascinated by it. And I think I was kind of fascinated, like you, with like kind of fascinated with the idea of kind of evil and darkness, and just it upset my parents that a little bit that it was too loud. And it's like, all right, well, if it's too loud, you're too old. So,
especially growing up in Utah, I was like the extreme opposite of the people around me. That's what I want.
Yeah, me too.
My gateway, definitely, you said Quiet Riot. I was like 11 years old. I was like buying tapes with my allowance. Def Leppard, Pyromania. I had that LP. But more than anyone, I think it was Van Halen. Van Halen really, really got me. But also it was probably like the first like really heavy. And I still think this when I revisit this album, I'm always shocked at how heavy it actually is. Is Motley Crue Shout at the Devil? Fucking move that. I was at that got me into the heavier stuff, and then I still wasn't into it that much. But I remember in 8th grade art class, this dude would always put on his tapes while we were all doing our art, right? And most of them were shit, like just like shit. And it's like, don't be putting any more of your shit in, man. And he's like, you'll like this, Jerry. Don't be a dick. We were having an argument. Teacher's like, knock it off. And he put in Metallica, Master of Puppets. And then after that day, it was like everything had to be thrash or hardcore punk. And I was like that for a long time. I kind of like left old metal behind for me. I was just like, it has to be fast, crazy in that. So that was my entry point into all this madness.
Nice. Very cool.
So we got the devil shit. What did you think about the legendary band? I like the idea they go find the Have a Sword was the name of the band.
Oh yeah. Hacks and Sword at the Alien Records. Yeah. I thought that was cool. Yeah, I like the fact that it's this made up band, and it's this legendary band that like had one album or something and just disappeared. And yeah, I thought that was a cool idea, cool concept. Um, and I love the even before that, I love the intro graphics of the film, like the way the film started with the graphics that they're kind of throughout the film. And they're very metal and very
The imagery.
just and funny and yeah, it's great. It kind of reminded me a little bit of um like Death Clock, kind of stuff a little bit, just over the top cartoon stuff. But I thought that was a cool intro. But yeah, I love the hacks and sword and yeah, because I mean I'm still like that. I still have this adolescent kind of joy at finding a record, like some rare record at a record store, and like, holy shit, it's like
Yeah.
it's an Unslaughter. Holy shit, like I haven't seen this on vinyl forever. It's cool to find those kind of gems, and so I thought that was a cool idea to have them, yeah, like where he meets Zach, Brody meets Zach at a record store, looking at heavy metal vinyl. And yeah, it's just I think I loved all the 80s vibes and the 80s, like the 80s metal vibes
Yeah.
and tropes. And I think they did a great job with, not making it stupid, making it funny, but not making it stupid.
Right. Especially with the treatment of Brody, the protagonist, because
Yeah.
like you said earlier, when you're talking about some metal guys, you can get like a Beavis and Butthead, but those guys are fun too. Like, oh man, getting stoned and doing all their thing, just listening to metal, rocking out. But Brody, that imagery, he's writing on his notebook. He's always thinking about metal, but he's a good student.
Yeah.
He's a good
Yeah.
student. He's respectful and everything. And I've met a lot of metalheads like that always, especially when I was younger. It was like, this dude's really good at science.
Yeah.
He's never smoked weed. Oh my gosh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of a nerd. It was capturing like that nerdy, awesome, I don't know, just the fandom. The fandom. I don't know. It stood out to me, especially in Brody. And I liked Zach. He was just like, he's your typical. He reminded me of a punk rocker a little bit, like just hates everything. Just
kind of a nihilist, kind of an asshole. We've all met that guy. We've hung out with that guy. I thought the characters were all really good, really well developed. I guess the only bone I would pick with the film is I loved and they did two of them. The two dream sequences where the daydream sequences, which are hysterical.
Yeah.
It's Brody and Medina. And and maybe they did this and they just got cut. I think they should have done it with every character, like all the main characters should have done a dream sequence like that. I think that would have been really fun. Maybe that's overboard, but I think it would have been cool to see like, what is Dion's like metal dream?
I'm totally, I would love to see, especially, the guys in the band who are they're making the music video. That made me love them so much. They're just making this DIY video and they're just smart and they're doing it correctly. I want them as my students. These are kids I see come through my classroom, I want you there. It's just fun to watch. They captured it beautifully. Just the creativity.
That raw creativity. Yeah, I agree. That's cool.
Ambition, like something like, I'm not doing this for any reason other than my heart is into it. That's it. You know, and I really liked the innocence of the film for that.
Yeah, I did like that. Yeah, speaking of when they make the video, I thought that was hysterical. They're in corpse paint.
Yes.
And I thought it was funny. The drummers in Peter Criss.
Yeah.
He's not in corpse paint. He's in Peter Criss paint. Kiss. And then the song they do the video for, the song is called Intestinal Bungee Jump, which I thought was hysterical. And also a nice nod to New Zealand, because, it's a New Zealand film and the bungee jump was invented in New Zealand. So I thought that was funny as hell.
There we go.
And that it's, intestinal. And then also when Dion at the very end of the video, when he jerks off the sword.
They're like, what is he doing?
And everybody's like, what the fuck are you doing? I could not stop laughing. That's one of the funnier parts of the movie.
Yeah,
And I think that's what I also love about the movie. And I think it's a metal thing because metal and horror go so well together, but also the
absolutely.
humor, just kind of, that funny horror, like, like the Evil Dead style, which I thought was great that, the director, obviously there's Peter Jackson worship there and Evil Dead, Sam Raimi worship in this
Most
film,
definitely.
but not over the top. But I mean, it's like you can see it, you can feel it, but it's his own film. But I thought that was cool. I
I,
thought that was pretty cool.
I want to go talk about that in a second. I want to come back to what you were talking about, the characters, because
Yeah.
you're nailing it. And one thing Medina, the love interest, who's
Mm.
kind of a square, popular girl. And when dude moves in with his aunt and uncle, there's a shithead cousin, backwards
Yeah.
hat wearing redneck motherfucker. And he's just a dick. Just a
Yeah.
dick. And
Just
he's being a
the
bully to his cousin because he's a little different, not even trying to understand. This kid's in a bad situation. He's just piling on, trying to impress the girl. But is nice. She's attracted to something different from their suburban lifestyle. This is different for her, and she's a closet metalhead, and you could tell
yeah.
she's interested, and she starts to say things like she's interested and she makes some funny statements. I can't remember which one. If you do remember, she'll say something and they'll correct her, but they never
Right.
judge her. They'll just correct her and she's accepted. And then over time she becomes a metalhead. And I liked that. I liked how that acceptance, even the two nerdy guys who they didn't get in the band who made the video and stuff, just the acceptance. And also with women, like, okay, women in metal were unfairly depicted in the wrong ways. It was very misogynistic in the 80s with the music videos from like
Oh, yeah.
Marty Callner. Marty Callner directed the Twisted Sister and the Aerosmith, the White Snake, and very, very talented director. Actually worked with him on a couple videos.
Oh, wow.
He's brilliant, dude.
I
He
did not know.
passed away, so rest in peace, man. I learned a lot from you, but dude was a dick. Like a massage. I listened to him speak, and they were definitely influencing public opinion on this, the misogyny and everything. But that's the complete opposite. If you go to metal shows or get involved with the metal community, and get to know metal women, they're totally empowered. They're badass. They'll kick your ass, dude. It's
Yeah.
not even the way they're depicted in those videos is nowhere even close to the reality of the tons of women in bands, tons of women kicking ass at the shows. They're all dressed up in their metal outfits. They look awesome. Very empowered. And I thought that we were seeing this happen to Medina. She was like becoming empowered. She was growing. And I liked that character. It really stood out.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I think it's, I wrote down a quote here. I thought this was because it's a funny, silly, gory, very gory, comedy horror film.
Yeah.
But there's some poignant things in this film that really stood out for me. And one is, that iconic scene when they've just finished their filming the video, and he runs into Medina, like literally runs into Medina, and they get ice cream, and he's still in corpse paint. It's been used I think it's been used as a meme now on the internet a bunch of times, but it's those two, Brody and Medina sitting on a park bench. He's in corpse paint with, metal spikes and everything. And then, she's like in a pink sweater, I think, and they're eating ice cream cones. And and this is a beautiful picture. But then I thought it was cool because she asks him, because, she's not into metal, and asks him like, what's the attraction to metal for you? And you hit on this a little bit earlier, but I thought this was cool. And I'll, if you don't mind me reading this, he says, it's like when life sucks and you feel alone and empty, stick on a metal tape or stick on some metal, and life is better because somebody else knows the pain and the rage that you're going through. And she has an aha moment at that point. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really cool and very poignant. And it's not over the top. There's not like violins playing. It's just, he says that, she's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And you can kind of see and that's why I think when she tells him that she wants to get a tattoo, and she has this rebellious nature. And I thought that was pretty cool, and then he gives her gives her a stack of CDs to listen to, which some of those are pretty funny. And I own a bunch of those, which I thought was hysterical. Like, there's some pretty crazy stuff in there, but I thought, I don't know. I think I went off the rails there. I don't know what my point was,
perfect.
but yeah, I thought it was, I thought that was really cool. And yeah, she's a really strong character, and she might, I mean, Brody's, obviously the hero of the film, but I think she might be my favorite character in the film. I really like the way she was portrayed.
Me too. And her journey, I felt like we saw the most growth. She was ready. She just needed a little poke. She needed a community, somewhere in the trust. Like, because obviously she's hanging out with dumb shit, backwards hat motherfucker, Why is she dating that guy? He's an asshole. And she's meeting nice guys, different guys, smart people who are a different way. We don't all want to go the same way. If you're in suburbia, everybody just like robots following the same way. No, we need somebody to break off into their an alternate route, right? Yeah. And Medina Darcy, she was the one. Now I'm coming to your second point, which you nail, the Raimi Jackson vibes, which, okay, people, they play the song, they do the lyrics, and when they're doing it, they all start tripping out. They're like they ingested poison. They're puking blood. They're doing all kinds of gross shit. Then the movie takes a turn, man. And if you're a horror person, you're going to love this movie because the effects in this are so gory and so funny and just insane. And my favorite part, by the way, when they're fighting, the like, it's almost like a zombie outbreak. Can we agree on that? It's like, it's not a zombie, it's something different, but it's like, if you like those films, you're gonna love this. They're throwing their bottles at the zombies, and Dak go throw the bottle, and he looks at it, and the beer's half full, so he it real fast, and then he throws it. I was like, yes, metal. There you go. Don't be wasting your fucking beer. And then, but then there was the engine on the head smash. There was and then there was a bunch of firsts that I've seen. And you could comment on these as we go.
Cool.
There was the death by dildo.
That was the funniest fucking thing.
I've never seen death by dildo.
I have not either. That was awesome.
Saved by dildo. You're fighting
and vibrators and vibrators too.
Fighting people off with the shit that was working like a champ. The butt plugs.
Yeah. And I love that they thought they were rosary beads.
That's cool too. And their characters are still showing that they're young. They're kids. They act older.
Like, what are these? Like, I think they're rosary beads. And then he smells them. It's like, and he makes a face.
Yeah, that's right. And then the weed whacker maiming, which was,
oh God, yeah,
that's probably been in a movie before, but I can't remember. I can't name it. The motherfucker in the band with the Hulk gloves, who puts on his Hulk gloves.
Oh yeah, Dion. I love Dion, the nerdy, the D&D kid. Yeah, the keyboard player. He's a great character.
Definitely. Wasn't he mostly? Oh, D&D. That's metal.
Yeah,
that's totally clean. That's
I did think there was a really funny. And it's funny because the D&D thing has always been I think a point of contention a little bit because you've got like I'm not, I don't mean to generalize in any way here, but you've got some of the metalheads that are into that kind of stuff, and then you have the others like, fuck that, that's ridiculous. I'm not doing that stuff. And I love that Zach, who's the hardcore, kind of punkier one, he's not into that, but I love that. Brody's introduction to Dion and Giles is a D&D game. And then, and it's his introduction to Giles is, hey, do you want to do something crazy? And they play D&D. And you can tell like Brody's like not into it. And then later when he meets Zach says, do you want to do something crazy? And he says to him, it's not role playing, is it? And Zach says, what the fuck is role playing? I thought that was a great line.
Perfect. We're friends now.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that
Well,
was
that's
funny.
what we were talking about earlier when I was asked. I can never believe I was asked this question. Who listens to metal? Right?
Mm.
It's just not a bunch of D&D dudes. That's
Yeah.
part of it with the imagery, with some of the metal bands,
Yeah.
but that's not everything. Metal goes deep. There's people who sing about "We're Not Gonna Take It" to people who sing about, I don't know, sanitarium, welcome home, whatever,
All right. Yeah.
environmental disaster, uh, political, like Sepultura, very political band,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's broad. That's my whole point, dude. The electric wine keys, the suburban accessories, fighting people off with the wine keys.
Yeah.
And then the chainsaw to the asshole. That's what I almost stood up. Yeah. What
Yeah.
the hell is going on
Yeah.
here?
Doesn't he say like, here's some metal up your ass?
Metal up here. Just like a little Metallica shout out there. I think, wasn't there a Judas Priest shout out too? They were like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah. There's a bunch of, and when I love the posters, like in Brody's room and the t-shirts. Like one of the things I thought was good. Yeah. Like when they kind of do the flashback slow motion of why Zach got kicked out of high school, when he stabbed that kid because he stepped on his King Diamond tape, and he's wearing a Cannibal Corpse t-shirt.
Yeah.
And then later, like the whole, one thing I loved is the whole second half of the film is that last night, the crazy night. And Zach's wearing a spiritual healing t-shirt from the band Death, which I thought was fucking awesome. That's such a great album, iconic death metal album. And I thought it was funny he's wearing the spiritual healing album cover t-shirt. I thought that was cool. There's so many great things about this movie that are so metal, and it's great because it's a little bit tongue in cheek, but also there's some heart to it too.
Absolutely.
Which I think makes it a good film. Like all the characters are very likable and fun. I don't want to ruin any. I don't want to spoil anything, but some of the characters there was some frustration. I really love the film, but there's a couple of things where I'm like, oh no, not that guy. Like, I won't say what happens, but I just like, well, but no, I don't know. There was just cool stuff.
So if you were going to draw your conclusion, according to what you just said there, you would basically say that this movie is truly metal and treats it with respect and is hitting all the right. And I would agree. It hits all the right notes. The gore will satisfy any horror people. I think it's an awesome comedy with some really good vibes and will attract non-metal fans. My wife does not like metal, but was very drawn to this movie and liked it and has watched it. When I told her we were going to cover this movie, she was very enthusiastic about watching it again.
Cool.
So if you're out there thinking, well, I don't know, I go watch this movie because I don't like metal. Well, I think this one's for everybody. It's fun.
And it's I think I think especially if you're a Sam Raimi fan or a fan of Peter Jackson's early work, like Dead Alive, then you'll dig it. Even if you're not a metalhead, but you just like crazy, funny gore, you'll totally dig this movie. And there's just so much fun stuff in it. There's just there's just cool characters and funny stuff. And if you are a metalhead, I think you're gonna fucking love it.
Oh yeah,
the soundtrack's badass. I mean, you got Bullet Belt, New Zealand band. They do the theme song. They do the song Deathgasm, and then Emperor, to name a couple. Nunslaughter. I'm a huge fan of Nunslaughter. There's their song Looking into the Abyss, which is a killer song. So that I thought that was awesome. Just lots of cool. So it's such a cool movie. So good. I also thought I loved one of my favorite scenes is when they're trying to come up with band names. And because so many people, I think, if you've ever been in a band, especially a metal band, trying to come up with a name and like the most ridiculous, stupid names that get thrown out there. And yeah, and they have like murder boners.
I,
It was a suggestion.
I forgot.
Tooth vagina.
Oh my God. Well, isn't there a movie about tooth vagina? I think that's called Teeth or something like
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I love the D&D guy, Dion. He's like cannibal unicorn.
that. That would be great. I'd watch that movie. That'd be fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I thought those, yeah, the names. And then I like that,
Unicorn.
Zach's like Deathgasm. We're going to be called Deathgasm.
Beautiful.
All capitals, all capital letters, because lowercase are for pussies.
Yeah.
Like, that's a great line.
It's like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deathgasm. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I love the fun times. I love the nerdiness. I love it's loud. It's very loud.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what
Loud film.
You know what's the most non-metal part of this whole thing? It's 86 minutes long. That's very unmetal. That's very punk rock. It's
It's a short film. Yeah.
I accidentally, because I was writing down all my notes, so I left it on, and there was one of those the Marvel type end of the movie. I don't want to give too much away. Yeah, it goes all the way to the end, and there's a conversation you pick up with Zach and Brody. And now there's a possible part 2 supposed to come out next year.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Later.
That's right.
So, something to look forward to. The ratings on IMDb are 6.3 out of 10. This one's interesting because the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes, that's from critics, and it's 88%. That's pretty damn good for this type of movie. You think they wouldn't like it. Yeah, but then again, it has the charm and the wit. It's very funny. But the popcorn meter for fans, 67%. I was a little surprised by that one. That's bullshit. Yeah. I give 4 out of 5. I give 5-star reviews. 4 out of 5, man. It's killer.
Yeah, I'd say 4 out of 5 as well. Yeah, I think it's great. Just for some of the lines alone. I mean, yeah, I love this movie, and the more you watch it, the funnier it's one of those. It's like a cult movie. I think it's
definitely.
I could see watching this movie and turning it into a drinking game. Like, every time somebody says whatever word or certain things, certain passages. There's that was the thing. I just kept. When I was watching, I kept writing down quotes because I was laughing my ass off, and I've seen this movie a few times now, and it still like brings me great joy, and I just bust up laughing. I mean, I think one of my favorite lines is Zach when they're talking to Abigail when they go back to the record store, and she's on her, not to give anything away, but she's not doing well. And, the whole demon possession thing is happening. The whole city's being taken over by demons. And she says something about, you got to stop this before the devil's hour. And they're like, what's the devil's hour? And she's like, 3 a.m. And Zach says, wait, 3 a.m. Pacific time or Eastern? Like, do demons recognize daylight savings? I thought that was so funny because he's deadpan, just deadpan.
It's hilarious, and it always reminds me of that was always my question of Gremlins with that movie too.
Yeah, like
about midnight. What midnight do you mean?
Midnight where?
Midnight. I don't understand. That's weird, but whatever. It's fun.
Yeah, but I thought that was funny that he cut. And there's a lot of little subtle stuff like that is I think that makes this movie very charming.
Very charming and very enjoyable. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we sign off to this wonderful discussion?
One silly thing, I guess, and it's another quote. But I think it's Medina who might be my favorite character. As much as I love Brody, I think I really like Medina a lot as a character, and I like and it's you can tell she's becoming more metal and more aggressive, and she's wearing the leather jacket with the spikes, and it's when she kills that dude, that guy that's possessed with the axe. She takes an axe to his head, and then she says, I was thinking of a cool line to say, like, where you were axing for that. She's like, is that cool? That's not, I like, she's a badass. I dig this character. She's
But
perfect.
it's,
She's a
it's
perfect character.
she's new to the culture. She's new. She's trying. She's
Yeah.
really more comfortable to try new things, including axing demons and giving
Yeah.
a little quip after it, which is why we love her.
Yeah.
Bless
Well,
her.
that's what I thought was funny that she asked, Dion and Giles, like, if that's a cool line. And they're both like shocked that she just split this guy's head in half,
The
and
gore,
well, they
man.
were like,
The gore.
screaming.
Absolutely. You might have just heard the the smoke detector went on upstairs. Stacy's making pork chops, but we're gonna leave that in. We're in Gorilla House basement. Sometimes shit like that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's no big deal. Victor, thank you so much, my man.
Oh, thank you, brother. This was awesome.
I love you, my man. Thank you
I
for
love
being
you.
everything, my good friend all these years. And I look forward to the next one. Everyone should see Deathgasm and tell us what you think. Go
Okay.
check out Brews and Tunes if you want to see some interviews or get some beer recommendations. Really fun site. Not only beer recommendations, the pairings with the albums are super awesome. It'll make you think about beer a little differently, which is always fun. Doing something new. Thank you, my man.
You.
You have a good day. And
You as well.
until the next time.
Hell yeah.